Hi, I'm John McGuire, and I'm going to take us through some of the updates we have coming for global search in GitLab 14.8. And I have with me John Mason, who is our senior engineer, who's going to be helping us go through a lot of these different changes and help plan out some of the pieces that we have coming in 14.8, joining me today. So, the first thing we're going to be looking at, um, we've been looking into OpenSearch, which is the AWS rebranded and forked version of Elasticsearch. And we have some areas we want to create some testing frameworks on to understand how we are continuing to track the kind of cross compatibility that we believe we currently have with GitLab and OpenSearch. So we'll be looking into getting this testing framework set up, and we'll be tracking any type of issues that we find from it going forward as well. The next thing that we're looking at is optimizing code search tokenizer to improve code search quality. Now, I know sometimes when we're using code search, there are like specific characters that may not return results the way that I might expect it to. And I'm wondering, John, could you help me understand what changing the code tokenizer will do?
Yeah, totally. Elasticsearch will take the content and break those into individual terms. And so if you have like the brown fox, it will split that out into individual tokens. So the and brown and fox. And then by default, it'll throw some words that don't really matter, like those are called stop words, and then store brown and fox. Where we're at right now is there's an issue if you have hyphens or special characters. So if you had the dash brown dash fox, Elasticsearch right now still thinks it should treat dashes as word separators. So it's going to do the exact same behavior. It's going to remove the dashes, then it's going to be the brown fox and remove the. The problem with that is if you try to search, if that's like a variable in your code and you try to search for the dash brown dash fox, it won't show up properly because on the back end, Elasticsearch is just storing brown and fox. So the new tokenizer that we're going to roll out, it will respect special characters. So those will, if you have a variable that is separated by dashes or underscores or even punctuation, Elasticsearch will respect that and just store that as one individual term. So then you'll have the dash brown dash fox. And so you'll be able to search for stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I can see how that's extremely helpful for code search because we use all of these special characters in code. So the fact they would get tokenized and sometimes ignored or actually even break a parsing of a word, right? Like it doesn't maybe think of it as the same term anymore the way it's set up. So
Yeah.
this looks great. I actually think this is a large problem that we have across a lot of feedback that I've seen from our customers, and I hope they're really looking forward to this improvement. And I think
Yep.
it'll make code search specifically work a lot better from the initial cases that I can imagine.
Yeah. Another case that it applies here is searching for UUIDs, which are separated by dashes. So this will fix that issue as well. Should
Yeah,
be good.
okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm really looking forward to this. This sounds really good. And that moves us into some performance updates that we're looking at in 14.8. We've moved a lot of the scopes into their own index in the past, and each time we've seen that there's been some type of improvement to the performance of search, specifically in GitLab.com, but we also hear this is helpful for larger customers that are using the Elasticsearch integration. And so the next scope that we're moving is commits. And this, we have a few other that we'll be moving out, but at the end we'll have each individual scope in its own index, and code will be in its own index as well, which gives us a lot of advantages too. And so this is something to look forward to coming in 14.8. We have another performance improvement. We have noticed that there are some group level searches. So when you've actually specified a group, but not a specific project, when you're searching across the entire group, that perform pretty slowly. And we have discovered that a lot of this time it has to do with groups that have lots and lots of projects in it. This is actually GitLab.org's list of projects that are in it. And so when it's doing a group level search, it has to do some type of search across each individual project, which takes a lot longer to complete. And we have found some ways to optimize this group level search that will essentially make all group level searches faster, but it'll be most noticeable on the ones that have lots of projects in it. Is there anything else on this, John, that we can add?
Yeah. So kudos to Dimitri, who is on that issue, who came up with this idea, where instead of passing this gigantic list, and so this issue really comes up when there is a group that has a lot of projects. GitLab is one. There are a few other where if it's a group that has a lot of projects and you do a group search, it's doing like the Elasticsearch equivalent of select star, where project ID is in this gigantic list. And so, as you can see, that's a lot of stuff going over the wire. So, what Dimitri is proposing is, instead of having each of these individually, to have something called an ancestry, a namespace ancestry ID, which can represent a collection of those. And so, instead of doing a massive list, you can just specify the namespace ancestry IDs, and those will represent the associated permissions, and they'll be order of magnitude more efficient. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, especially because we're searching on GitLab.org all the time, and it
Yep.
can be slow. So me too. Search.